go somewhere, you gotta go somewhere else. You gotta figure out the right spot to go.
And then remember to go back to where you wanted to get that.
I do like the map system you can work. So
Exactly. I like that.
I've done Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, Survivor, Caltech. They're coming out with a third one.
Stuff on the PC game, playing for a while. Star Trek Fleet Command.
Yeah, that was fun. I haven't played that because I know it's
I've been into one. It's great.
Yeah, some guy came along and blew away my base.
Yeah.
And it cost me like $100 to repair it now. Or take 3 weeks for repair it. You know what, guys? Hey, done with the alliance. Y'all have fun. You know,
Yeah.
Yep. Don't forget the mic.
Welcome to the Piqua City Commission regular meeting, Tuesday, May 6, 2025. We will begin by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk call the roll?
Commissioner Vetters,
Here.
Commissioner Simmons,
Here.
Mayor Lee,
Here.
Commissioner Homan,
Present.
Commissioner DeVos.
Here. First on our agenda is a motion to approve the business agenda and the rules of conduct, which are included. And I will not read them, but please read them, because we will follow them.
Mayor, I would make a motion to approve the business agenda.
Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda.
A resolution appointing a member to the Park Board. It's
What about the approval of the minutes?
Oh, I'm sorry. The approval of the minutes from April 15th, 2025, regular city commission meeting.
Who was the park board member?
Alex Karabanis, he's a new member.
Carabinus. Yeah, Carabinus. Yeah, I know him. Nice. Any questions from commission? I will consider a motion then.
I would move that we adopt the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Motion carries. Next is new business. We'll start with resolution number R-46-25.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Fishbeck for the engineering services of the I-75 Exit 78 Development Area Master Plan Project Phase 2.
Good evening, Commissioners. This resolution is to extend contractual services with Fishback for design of water, sewer, and street extensions on the newly annexed land on the south part of Piqua. They've been, first resolution was in October of 2024, and this is the second resolution continuing the work in which they started, and they have been doing since the first resolution was passed. If you have any questions, I'll take them now.
How are things progressing with the project thus far?
Good. We've been doing a lot in the last 6 months with the water, the sewer, water and sewer extensions, and then with the street improvements that'll go along with them. So moving along good. We're hoping to be ready here in the future to build when they come.
Still gonna miss the farms, but I understand.
Say that again?
I said I'm still gonna miss the farms, but I understand. I love driving down Washington Road and looking over and seeing all the farmland.
Any other questions from commission? Public comment. Nick, I would call you, but you just put a check mark and you have to put down which resolutions you want to do a public comment on. Kim gave me a list, so we'll start with her. So, yeah, just, if this is one you want to talk about, just make one out for each one that you want to talk about, okay? That was in the rules.
About just like every one.
No, you gotta, then give me one for everyone that you want to talk about. Come on, Kim, yes.
Kim Heisler, 1802 West Parkway Drive. I just have a question. Today we went out voting for issue 2 for infrastructure for stuff such as this. Is this or a large part of this going to be paid for by those bonds, I guess?
I don't know the specifics of issue 2. I do believe some of the OPWC funding was in there, which we have participated in 3 of the last 4 years. We've gotten funding for that for various projects around the city.
So it is, I mean, today's vote was just to enhance it, make it even bigger.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. I
Just a
wanted to-
chance.
So it's not like all coming out of the city, it's
No.
coming out of.
No,
is this on?
we're looking for this to be sponsored.
Should be.
Is this on?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, that was it.
Good question. Thank you. Nick, did you want to fill one out for this one?
No, not on this one.
Okay. All right, with that said, there's no more public comment.
Mayor, I would move that we adopt resolution R-46-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed. Moving on to resolution number R-54-25.
A resolution to approve the transfer of the liquor permit from Scottish Thistle, DBA Scottish Thistle in patio lobby and restrooms, 110 West High Street and 308 West Main Street, Piqua, Ohio, to the City of Piqua, 110 West High Street, Piqua, Ohio.
Good evening, Commission. I'm filling in for Jessica. It's good to see everybody again. This resolution is, as Ms. Hughes read, it's just a liquor license transfer from Scottish Thistle LLC to the city. Internally, the city's process is that it goes to the Chief of Police, the Law Department, and the Economic Development Department for objections. None were received here.
Should we stand? Just messing with you.
Professional hazard.
I understand that. I understand that. Any questions from commissioners?
Oh, yeah. Why would the city need a liquor license?
We had it to run the ballroom, do you remember?
Right, but we also had other people that we were actually doing it through Scottish Thistle. We don't have another,
Yeah, so I can lean on that. So the city, because we have the 4th floor and we operate the plaza building, then we're going to hold the liquor license. In the past, we'd had the operators hold the license, which has been problematic in trying to retrieve the license from the operator when they do depart. So the city's going to hold the liquor license. We do currently hold one at the golf course as well.
If you'll remember, the deal with Hampton to run the upstairs is that the city owns and operates technically the property, and we've hired Hampton as employees. So I guess if you're, I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but if your question is why would a Hampton pick it up, it's because, well, why would an employee have the liquor license for the owning company?
We should have it, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Nick,
And this is a split. So there was one liquor license, I believe, at the plaza, now there'll be 2.
Okay. Any other questions from the commissioners? Kim Heisler.
Kim Heisler, 1802 West Parkway, and you explained it a little bit. Why do we need two then? Why is it a split?
Because the problem with having one liquor license is you're obligated to use the operator from the restaurant to supply alcohol upstairs. And so it became an issue with managing and running the business, and so we split it out into two separate licenses so that the operations are independent from each other. For instance, the restaurant is currently not open, so without the second liquor license, we could not serve.
And the city does not own the restaurant.
So you're planning on having a restaurant back down there again?
Correct.
Okay, so if anybody else comes into the city and they request a liquor license, and is that?
We are the owners of the building, we will have the liquor license.
Okay. Do you have anybody in plan for that?
Yeah, we've been interviewing potential operators, but there's none at this time.
Okay, so then,
Go ahead.
when you do find one, then do you have to
This isn't a discussion about that property, though. This is about the liquor license that's
Yeah.
upstairs.
Okay, so once the city of Piqua owns it, you can use it for anything you want to then for city, right?
Yeah, the tag to an address, right?
It's pegged address.
It's
Oh, yeah,
right there.
okay, and this is
fourth
right here
floor.
at 110, 311.
Mhm.
Okay,
So if we do get a tenant there, they don't have to have their own liquor license. They
That's
can
why there's
operate
two,
on
that's
their
why
own.
we're splitting it.
No, they would, yeah.
They would have to get their own, yes.
so the other one also says 311? The other one also has the same address?
I don't have paperwork in front of me.
Is there additional information in the permits that specify parts of buildings? Is that where or is the address of the upstairs different than the downstairs?
They specify that. Yeah, it is separate addresses, so, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's it, thank you.
Any questions?
No other questions from the public? I'll consider a motion.
All right, I move that we adopt resolution R-54-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is resolution number R-55-25.
A resolution to authorize the award of a small business grant in support of improvements for a business located at 311 North Main Street.
Good evening, Commission. This item is a request from new business that will be occupying the subject location, and the funds that would be granted would facilitate the transformation of the building into a submarine house, food and drink establishment. The total investment of the business owners will be approximately $451,000, and the recommended grant amount is $110,000. The grant amount will focus primarily on the exterior improvements, including a new covering over the patio, a new entryway from the patio into the building, some exterior paint and signage. The Economic Development Incentive Committee previously met and reviewed the request submitted and recommended the proposed grant amount. The intent of the committee and their recommendation reflects this, is that this would be the final grant and exhaust the remaining funds from the Small Business Grant Program. You'll recall in 2022, I believe it was, the commission authorized the Small Business Grant Program and set aside some funds to the tune of nearly $500,000 for local small businesses to be able to apply for assistance to help with their recovery coming out of COVID and to be able to make improvements necessary to sustain and grow their small business. 25 grants were awarded with those funds, and 23 of those projects were able to be completed. The other 22 projects, or I'm sorry, of the 23 projects, a number of them came in under budget. So with the 2 projects that were not performed and the ones that came under budget, there remains approximately $110,000 that's available to be expended. And the committee thought it was appropriate for this project to utilize those dollars, recognizing the owner's match is going to be in excess of $350,000, which far exceeds the previous threshold that was set for the program in terms of the match requirement. Questions?
Any questions, commissioners? They're putting in a significant amount of money investing into the, and, you know, it'd be nice to have a sub house downtown. I mean, I go to the one in Dayton, there's one in Troy as well, but I'd like to have our own, so,
This one will be the best one.
yes, most definitely.
I'll help them out with the purchase of pepper rum.
There you go. And their Italian subs are to die for. No other questions from commission. Kim Heiser.
Kim Heisler, 1802 West Parkway Drive. My question has to do with, it will be nice to have a sub house in town here. DM Piqua LLC, does that have anything to do with the city or any city staff?
The DMLC is the LLC that Submarine House established for this location.
Yeah, I understand that.
So typical, no, there's no city affiliation or no employee affiliation. This is the owners of the Submarine House. It's pretty common, and Ryan can probably speak to this better than I, but it's pretty common for business entities to create separate LLCs from different locations when they have multiple locations they operate. But my understanding is it's just a common practice. It's a way for them to be able to manage separate their expenses and cash flow from one location to the next.
Okay. And I know that you just had mentioned how you divvied out monies and most of the other ones came out under budget. You'd mentioned there was 25 of the grants. Were they all just really small ones where they were asking for like so much? And 100 seems like it's a lot. I mean, no, 400 and some is a lot to put into something too, and it's great that you're providing 100,000, but was it in relation to the others very similar?
The others, I would say, were generally smaller than this, but so was the match requirement, right? So
Okay.
if they received 50,000, their match was maybe 45,000, if that.
Okay. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
It's relative, skewed actually in our favor.
No other questions? I will take a motion.
I will move the approval of resolution R55-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on our agenda is resolution number R-56-25.
A resolution authorizing the purchase of 2 Stryker LifePak 35 cardiac monitors.
Good evening. This is just the most recent in a long history of providing fire or EMS service here in the city of Piqua. This will be the 4th generation of cardiac monitor that I've worked with in my tenure here at the fire department. Our current cardiac monitors are the LifePak 15 model. The 2 oldest that we have are 9 years old. The manufacturer recommends those for a life of 8 years. So that was part of our capital improvement planning. We had put in $115,901 in the budget this year for that capital replacement, and we were able to replace those for a cost of $114,714. So we are under budget with that. We've got all of the accessories that we need for those LifePaks. It is an incredible amount of money for 2 cardiac monitors to be $1,000. They are providing the best possible care. There is some more information in the background there with that. And does any of the commissioners have any questions about that purchase, about the cardiac monitors?
It makes sense to upgrade the oldest in the fleet, and people who are going to be taken to a hospital are going to want you to have up-to-date equipment. So,
They came in under budget.
yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah.
Try to make sure we look at all the angles on that when we were doing the budgeting process last year.
Any other comments from commissioners? There is no public comment on this.
Mayor, I would move that we adopt resolution R-56-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Last on our business agenda is resolution number R-57-25.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Bricker Graydon for economic development legal services.
Good evening again, and this item is related to economic development legal services that we generally each year anticipate that we'll have a need for. So we'll place an item in the budget to be able to obtain the services that arise as needed, or obtain those services as needed. In this particular case, because we now have a significant tract of land that's been annexed into the community and several other tracts that are active with interest, we want to make sure that we're prepared for what we think the scope of the legal services could be. We know, for example, that we need to extend the CRA boundaries to capture the newly annexed area. That will involve legal support from a firm such as Bricker Graydon, who is quite competent and capable in this area and can provide the kind of services that would generally be anticipated for economic development activity on tracts of land such as this. So this item allows us to increase the PO, or the budget, if you will, not to exceed $140,000, whereas in the budget we might have ordinarily had $50,000 or $60,000.
So last year's budget was included in this?
We part of the reason for this item is because we've obtained services from them last year, so we want to recognize that in terms of the total amount, and instead of saying, well, just for this year it's only going to be X. This is actually taking into account that we previously engaged with them, so making sure that we're seeking authorization as appropriate.
Any other questions from commissioners?
Yeah, so is this expense in the budget for this year?
Yes, the Jerry at the Finance Department will tell you that it's been appropriated, so it is there.
I'm going to ask you this question only because I know I'm going to get asked this question, and if you answer it, then my phone will ring. Okay. We have a city law director. We have someone who's been assisting the city law director, and now we have someone else who's sitting in for the city law director while she's out on leave. Why will we need more legal services for our town?
So I would tell you, if you reflect back to the Scott Drive redevelopment project, for example, in the engagement we had with the legal counsel at that time, the development finance or development agreements or incentive tools, the CRAs, that's a very specific discipline area within the legal world. Bricker Graydon is one of the leading firms in the state in terms of providing public sector services as it relates to those type of economic development related legal items. So certainly there are other capable individuals, but when you consider the other workload that's already on the plate of be it Ryan or Jessica or anyone else, this is what you need to do to be able to advance the types of activities that typically come up as a result of the kind of economic development activity that we anticipate.
Special.
You're welcome.
Specialist, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. All right. Any other questions from commissioners?
No.
Kim Eisler?
Kim Heisler, 1802 West Parkway Drive. Okay. So Bricker and Graydon, actually, how did you guys come about getting these guys? Or what was your decision in choosing them versus anybody else in the field?
It's their list of core competencies. They work in the public sector extensively, as I mentioned previously. In the packet's a statement of their qualifications. There are other firms, but Bricker is widely recognized as one of the leading providers of these services for public entities. We've worked with them in the past and always had very good experiences. So we had no reason not to continue to work with them.
Okay. Question then, are you aware that Bricker Graydon used to be Bricker Eckler LLP?
That's correct.
Okay. So Bricker Graydon says, you know, economic development, all those things that you said, they're really good in this area, has the power to transform communities. I mean, that sounds fantastic. Whether embarking on a signature multi-million-dollar mixed-use project, citing a new production-oriented facility, or rebuilding treasured historic business district, businesses and government entities can achieve optimal results using many economic development tools. Our team helps communities and businesses flourish, working with them to understand and take advantage of these programs. That's fantastic. So, February 22nd, 2018. Bowling Green State University plans to open a new firefighter training program in Piqua this fall. The Dayton Daily News reports BGSU entered into a 3-year agreement with the city to use the former water treatment plant that closed last fall, the article reports. Bricker and Eckler LLP assisted Piqua with the structure of that agreement. Assistant City Manager in Economic Development Justin Sumner believes the center will become something of a regional center for all of Southwest Ohio, and said the project is huge for the city because it'll drive traffic to local businesses. Sumner said training sessions typically include anywhere from 60 to 500 people. So let me restate that. Brickler, Eckler, LLP, which is who we're getting here now, assisted Piqua with the structure of that agreement with a battery burn. So my question is, if they're really good at building the development sector and they're competent and capable, how in the world did we end up where we have? And is that, and I say it is, a conflict of interest when our battery burn committee hasn't come up with a solution, or all the information has not been gathered? I really think it should be like tabled until we get an agreement or information from the battery burn committee to find out if in fact that structure of that agreement put us to where many countries, many people showed up without even our firefighters being there. So I say table it. I think that's a huge conflict of interest.
Do you have anything else?
You know, I
Thank
think
you for your
should strongly
opinion.
consider it and look at it a little bit deeper.
Thank you for your
And,
opinion.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Any other?
Yeah. There's no other public comment on that.
Mayor, I would move that we adopt resolution R-57-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed. That concludes the new business session. I will ask for city manager's report.
Yeah, one item this evening. So tomorrow there'll be a notice put out on our website talking about the new carts that Rumpke will be putting out. And that'll start on Saturday. They'll start to distribute the carts 2 days ahead of the pickup. So if you have pickup on Monday, expect to see the new cart on Saturday. And you simply put your old cart out with your trash and recycle. They'll pick them up and empty it and then take the carts with them. And you'll be left with your brand new brown brown trash cart and green recycled carts.
If you're interested in changing the size of your carts for whatever reason, greater or less, how will you go about doing that?
Yeah, there'll be the number will be advertised in the announcement tomorrow to contact them and make sure you have the proper size carts. But this is what it'll look like right here.
Brown and green. Yeah. And that's it? Okay. We'll move on to commissioners' comments. How about Commissioner DeBras?
Mayor, I will gladly yield back.
Okay. Then Commissioner Vetter.
I only have one thing tonight. I was pleased to be the invitee to a workshop conducted by the Girl Scout troop at St. James Church. They were talking about voting as it relates to their position in life. They're pretty young, but I think they had a well-developed program, and we're curious about that. And it's interesting to get good questions from kids that kind of, on occasion, can kind of pose.
They can pose some good questions.
They do. They make you back up and ask some good questions yourself. So I was pleased to do that, and it went well. And I think everybody learned something from those things.
Great. Thank you.
I yield.
All right. Commissioner Holman.
Wish it would stop raining. I just want to thank you, Mr. Obrador, for, I had some concerns that were brought to my attention that there's possible speeding with the new Rumpke trucks, and we were able to kind of look into that and ask some questions, and found out that there's GPS governors in all the trucks, and if I'm not mistaken, Rumpke was able to run a report to check that. And they let us know that they have not found any incidents of speeding, which is good to hear.
That is correct. And as a matter of fact, their safety compliance is tighter than ours. We were able to do for the simple fact that they have the technology and sensors in each of the trucks. And so be it speeding or hard braking or hard acceleration, all of that provides a warning to the supervisor's cell phone immediately. And then they run audit reports occasionally to look back in time.
Yeah, I'm a little bit familiar with systems like that. My company has a trucking fleet associated with it. We have 60 tractor trailers, and we've got chips in all of them, and we know right away if one of those drivers is speeding or in the wrong area or hard braking or anything that's weird. And so I wasn't surprised to hear that there was that same technology in the Rumpke trucks.
Thank you. All right, Commissioner Simmons.
Oh, good evening. Yeah, it must be that time of year because I got to go out and speak to the Cub Scouts down at Hollow Park. And it was a lot of fun. They were far more interested in my service dog Chihuahua than they were about the nature of public service, but we had a really good talk down there. I really enjoyed it. And thank you guys for having me out there. Let's see, I wrote this out and I kept it really short because it hurts to type because of my hand. It hurts to talk because of my teeth. So I'm just going to read this. I did receive a call, I think it was 2 days ago, from someone in Commissioner DeBross's ward. She had some questions to ask, and she said she tried to call the city hall and get some information. She said she tried that a couple times. I explained she could come to the meeting tonight and ask during public comments, and her response was that to remind me that the city staff leaves before she would get the opportunity to speak, and would therefore be unable to provide any answers in person publicly. We did agree that public servants should be available for public answers. So that said, here are her questions, and you don't have to answer them now. But to get them on the record, how and when are the funds that were borrowed from the wastewater fund for Lot 9 going to be repaid? How much is the total of those loans, and what interest, if any, are we tallying on that? Where is that money going to come from? She also wants to know why the city's phone system is so messed up. She went to report a property with high grass. Apparently, I didn't know we had a high grass complaint line. But anyway, she went to go leave a message on there, and it cut out after 2 seconds. So she didn't get a chance to say anything. But that's all I have, and I yield.
So can we make note of those questions and get answers for those? Appreciate that. My comment's pretty basic. May is always going to be a big month, so and it's going to be a warming month in which weather warms up and you'll actually get to go on the bike path
Someday.
if it stops raining. It's also a graduation month for a lot of people, so my household's kind of unique. I've got 3 kids graduating, one from high school, one from Edison, and one from University of Dayton, so we've got a busy month. I was going to talk about Top 100 because I thought it was tonight, but it got rain delayed because they thought it was going to rain. It's not raining right now, but
So you make it then?
Huh?
You gonna make it then?
Rain delay, yep. The rain delay date is Monday, so hopefully I'll make that Monday. It shouldn't be a problem. The Piqua City graduation, we'll get you that information at the next meeting. I think they're this month, but I'm not quite sure of the date, but I will report on that. And I too have gotten complaints about Rumpke drivers that, and their speed, and it was great to have it proven that they weren't speeding. So I can't complain about the service I've gotten so far. I'm okay with it. They even took my yard waste this last time, so I was quite happy with that. So, and with that said, I need a motion to adjourn, and we're going to go directly into public comment, non-agenda public comment.
So move to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. And now we will start the non-agenda public comment. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the city commission on non-agenda items after the adjournment of the business agenda. Comments will be limited to 7 minutes. We will start with Larry Hamilton, who stepped out. We can.
He had to go to a different meeting. He said he would try to be back at 6:30. So.
Oh, well, I'm going to read what he gave us. He passed out a bunch of forms to several people about Sankofa. It's looking back while moving forward. People without knowledge of their past is like a tree without roots. He says that he's sharing with us, with you, to further promote his effort in bringing people together through faith-based, heart-healthy environments that are also safe and kid-friendly. I hope you will understand my motives and be ready to assist me in my efforts. My plan, in part, is to identify stations in the Underground Railroad that are in close proximity to the bike and walking trails situated along the Great Miami River corridor. But my primary goal was to glorify God in creating the opportunity for his children of the light to collaboratively work together and to honor the ancestors by raising funds to extend ownership identity and or the building of monuments connected to the African Cemetery in Rossville, Miami County. In Piqua, a rather extensive Kemet Temple complex, African heritage site, south of the Randolph and McCullough Freedom Center complex will be completed in this northern entryway into the city of Vision. This can only be possible by way of a divinely inspired remnant that is capable as overcomers in preventing the unraveling of our inclusive heritage and threading the needle and holding together the democratic institutions that offer hope for a multicultural demographic mosaic with cultural awareness, wisdom, and knowledge gained from these learning centers and heritage sites. I know to many this will sound absolutely crazy, but in my heart and mind, I know God is able. Save Piqua, do the right thing. And then he lists Mark 10:42-45. So he wanted to talk about that. He was going to have 7 minutes to talk about it. He was trying to get back here, and I read that for him. So next on our agenda would be Nicholas Mark.
Nicholas Martin, 1433 Covington Avenue. I was at the presentation in Fort Piqua Plaza concerning the hydraulic canal propositions through Stantec. And there were some concerns that came up among a lot of citizens in attendance. They made some presentations in which maybe some circumstances might call for the exhuming some grave sites in order to complete their project. And I don't know to what extent that's going to be. I don't know if that's going to go all the way up to the mausoleum and affect those graves right there. But it sounded like it's going to be extensive. And I caught up with Kevin from the water department afterwards, and he didn't quite elaborate more on the mausoleum, because he said, you know, he didn't know exactly how far away that was. But during the presentation, he was saying, well, these bridges are going to need to be extended significantly going towards the cemetery. So I'm assuming some of those grave sites are going to have to be exhumed, according to what they said at the presentation. Another thing is the many people were concerned about all the wildlife and habitat loss with the trees on the other end that are going way up towards Tecumseh Woods and all along the bank of the cemetery, all the way out to Swift Run. Apparently those are going to be compromised as well. So you're talking about a lot of woodlands loss, a lot of habitat loss, animals affected. I also talked to Kevin after the demonstration, or whatever you want to call it, and I told him that I read in the Piqua capital improvement packet, I think that was 2024 to 2026, maybe, I don't know what that projection was, that Swift Run, the whole hydraulic canal project was supposed to go in phases. Phase 1 was supposed to be Swift Run at a cost of $4 million. Phase 2 was the Echo Lake Dam, cost of $4 million. And Franz Pond was phase 3 at a cost of $2 million. He says those were just initial projections. At the end of the presentation, they were saying, throwing out numbers of 20 million, and then I talked to Kevin after the meeting. He says 20 million is just for Swift Run. So it's like accordion style dam they want to put on top of the spillways. And then he said it could be in excess of $200 million for this whole project in total. I just think, wow, that's very excessive. I'm no engineer, but I think I've been thinking this through, and I know it's gonna, like poo-poo, and Nick's thought of it, and he's no engineer, so, he's no stand tech, so it can't be that simple. But I'm not gonna announce it right now, what came to me in my mind, which would kind of is a simpler task, take care of all these flood waters, 27 inches in a 24-hour period. But I think there's a way to mitigate that in a way that would more evenly distribute the water in a fashion that's a lot safer and more cost effective. So I have to run the numbers and get on Google Earth and run the distances and everything. But I think I've come up with a plan. I just want to know if you guys would even be receptive of such a thing, if the citizen would come forward to you and say, hey, I think this might be a better vision, idea. I mean, is things are just like set in stone with Stantec? No, we've contracted with them, we paid them thousands of dollars, they've drafted these plans, this is what we're going with, this is what we're sticking with. We, said and done. So is there any...
Nobody wants to pay $200 million. And so we want to fight this any way we can. So if you've got an idea that's going to work, let us know.
Stand in line.
Stand in line,
There's a lot of
because
people
nobody
that-
wants to do that.
Right.
I don't think anybody wants to see their loved ones exhumed.
Exactly. We don't want that either.
I don't think anybody wants those
So
woodlands.
yes, we're willing to listen to what you have to say.
Okay.
Well, of course, the cheapest, easiest way to do that is just drain the whole thing.
Right.
Just have swamp there. So, I mean,
They also
the city does
said,
not want that, and so we're trying to find a way around that.
so it was also said that if ODNR had their way, they would just want all the trees gone on the other end of where the cemetery is, and all the way up to Tecumseh Woods and all the other bank. They would want the trees gone. But I find it hard to believe that a regulatory agency, ODNR, with natural resources in their name, places a greater emphasis on concrete than natural resources.
It's strange when the government agency's name is opposite of what they're trying to do, isn't it? I agree.
Now, is that a Stantec? Is that a Stantec, like,
Your time's up.
no?
No, it's
Okay.
not a Stantec thing.
No?
But your time is up.
Yeah.
Mr. Hamilton, we read your handout that you gave us, but please come forward if you'd like to speak.
Good evening. My name is Larry Hamilton. I live at 1104 Maplewood Drive. And since you've already read
Read it to everybody. You sure did.
and shared that, I'll share something else with the audience. I am only one, but I am one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. And what I can do, I ought to do. And what I ought to do, by the grace of God, I will do. I don't know how many residents, Piqua, when they come to the chamber, take the time to look at the signage on the wall coming up the stairwell. But I do. There is a particular sign that I want to bring to the attention of the public and ask that they consider that signage when they enter into the municipal building. It says, Piqua, building an inclusive, innovative, and collaborative community that propels Piqua forward. There's a symbol on the flyer that I passed out. The symbol is a Sankofa bird. It's an Ndrinka symbol from West Africa, Ghana, I believe. And it is a bird that symbolizes flying forward, but also looking back. And in looking back, its intent is to bring back those things that have been denied, erased, taken away. And it's important that we recognize that kind of symbolism within our culture. We need to continue to move forward, but we also need to look back and retrieve those things, correct those things, repair those things that have been impacted by the inhumanity of our society. So I intend to come before the city commission and before the city and share some ideas and proposals that I think are visionary. I've been talking about commitment to Piqua, and I shared vision I have for the community for 20 years. And the time, I believe, is right to do right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kim Heisler.
Kim Heisler, 1802 West Parkway Drive. I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but the previous minutes was not in the agenda packet this time.
I will.
Seems like that's a real simple thing. And I know there was supposed to be some additional stuff in that packet also, some attachments and stuff. That's why I looked for that. Also, I didn't hear you guys say anything about last week's event with the food trucks and stuff. The spring block party, downtown Piqua thing. Does anybody know anything about that?
No.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and talk, and then you can talk about this afterwards. There was a couple parties that talked to me and said they went down specifically for this downtown, and there was nothing. So there's that. That was really disappointing to them because they went down expecting to go to a food truck. And it's interesting that you guys don't know anything about it when it was downtown Piqua hosting it. It's interesting also.
Did you see it advertised anywhere?
What was advertised? Yes, somewhere it was advertised.
Downtown Piqua, the organization.
It was in the newspaper too.
Downtown Piqua is an organization, it's not the city.
That's not the city.
It's it's like its own entity.
Downtown Piqua is different.
Yeah, it's not a city-run organization, it's a citizen
Wow,
organization.
that's interesting.
Is that what we're talking about here? Or am I thinking of a different?
Well, it says downtown Piqua to host spring block party, so I don't know if it's called downtown Piqua.
Pretty sure downtown Piqua is
Main
Main
Street
Street.
is not the city of Piqua. They're their
Main
own
Street?
entity.
This says nothing about Main Street Piqua on here. But it was in the newspaper also. I would think, being commissioners, you would know what was going on.
If it
downtown.
was attributed to the city of Piqua, but maybe you should check that out before you attribute it to the city, and instead of, maybe it was Main
Wow.
Street. Maybe you should check that out.
That's interesting.
Wow.
I saw it on Facebook.
Did you? Was it Main Street Piqua?
I didn't look that far. I just saw the date and the event and knew that I had conflicts and
I think they would have told us if it was a Piqua thing. You would think Main Street would have told us too, but I didn't hear anything. I didn't see an email, nothing.
Okay, I'm asking again if I could get the link to the cat spade and neuter thing. If you could email that to me, that would be great. I sent you an email a couple of weeks ago, something like that. If you could just respond with a link where I can find out more information, that'd be great. And also, I know Paul was talking about the new carts doing the swap out. Is there any possibility to be able to use those for rain barrels and to keep them? I mean,
The old
obviously
ones?
it's not a rain barrel, but it's a really good plastic
The old
instead
ones?
of, yeah. I mean, because it'd be really good.
I would contact Rumpke and check on that because they might sell it to you.
Sell it. It's ours already. I don't understand why we'd have to buy it.
I agree.
Okay, and thank you for allowing Larry to come up and speak after you had already called him forward and done that for him. That was.
Oh, no,
I-
he put his thing in, so, and he told us he would be back at 6:30 and he came back, so.
Okay, and also on the Rumpke thing, I have the same concern about trucks speeding. I know he verified that, and you said, you work with a fleet of trucks and stuff like that. Back in the day, they put governors on buses and trucks and cars, but there was a real easy way to get that taken care of and go faster than they wanted, right? So, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be walking out there when a trash truck's coming because they literally seem like they're flying.
We had them query the data out of the fleet. If you have like a specific evidence or picture or like location and
Date and
time,
time.
like
What'd you say?
like if you've got a specific allegation of a crime, make it specific. But we did query the data. Like
I don't
know.
doubt you at all. I'm just saying, and I'm not.
Well, it sounds like you are doubting.
Well, I mean, I'm not doubting you. They did the query and stuff like that. I'm just saying, there's maybe a different way. I mean, I don't know how I could, put a rumble strip out there or something and find out how the speed or whatever, but it does.
Well, they run it by
seem a little
GPS.
GPS, it's gonna tell you the speed,
Okay.
unless they can figure out a way to get around.
Maybe it's
the
because
GPS.
they're louder, and it just sounds like when you're loud, you're going faster or something. Okay, the dam presentation. I know Nick had mentioned this. Different things though. Hampton Group, we've contracted them to do lots of things, right? The golf, the,
The wedding.
yes, Fort Piqua Plaza and stuff like that. The dam presentation, I think Frank, you were there, Jim, you were there, and Tom, you guys were there. But for people paying a lot of money for that facility, the audio was terrible. I don't know if that happens every time. That's the first time I've been in there on a presentation, but that was, to me, like uncalled for. As long as they've been there, there needs to be something different, done different, where there's absolutely no question and go without any flaws. I mean, I understand things happen, but, there was quite a few people there that was so frustrated because they couldn't hear what was going on. I mean, half of them left before it was completely done because they couldn't understand, they couldn't hear, they couldn't hear, just understand what they were, it was just terrible, and to me it was uncalled for when we're paying them money to do the things right. Also, I went to the fire training meeting, I believe that was on the 4th floor, I don't know if it was a boardroom or it's wherever they have their meeting. And that too was delayed like 15 minutes because they couldn't get communication between, and it turned out to be a bad battery. But if Hampton Groups is taking care of it, that stuff should all be checked out ahead of time where there's absolutely no problems. And I want to just publicly say thanks, Nick, for looking outside the box at possible solutions, because I think we're all looking for something different for the dam. We don't want to pay that money. We don't want to, dig up. We don't want to change what's already there, and if we do, a minimal amount, not change the face of Piqua because of it.
Your time's up, Kim.
Can I see what that flyer was?
Yeah.
And just so you know, we have
Yeah, so I actually, yours, and I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but I've got the same flyer pulled up online here, and on yours, the bottom is cut off, and it's Main Street Piqua. Main Street Piqua put on that event. If it was not the city of Piqua. Main Street Piqua is an organization that does sorts of that sort of stuff downtown. Yeah, we talked about it because
I didn't know about it, but I think they should have said something.
Yeah. I mean,
because I would have announced it. Yeah, I would have announced it. Exactly. But then they didn't have it?
Yeah, I mean,
Mayor, they actually posted, this is a post I found, that they moved it into the library because of weather.
Yeah. Oh, really? So, sounds like it did still happen.
And as far as the thing with ODNR with down by Forest Hill, we've got a cemetery board meeting tomorrow, and I intend to ask the staff if they have any further information about what ODNR's demands are. I was kind of shocked to see, we might have to move, I forget how many it was, but I mean, it was a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe the cemetery board can petition and
Okay.
there you go. Mm-hmm. All right, that's all the requests that we had for public comment. I will accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.